Hi friends, what's up? Today we're going to be talking about my 5 favorite picture books of 2021. These are the books that I'm nominating for the Nerdy Book Club Nerdy Awards, and I love these books and I think they're amazing. And I will tell you, of all of these videos, I made a graphic novel list, I've made a middle grade fiction list, now the picture book list. This is the hardest one, and I have put books out and brought books in, and I've changed the list so many times. But these are the 5 that I have settled on, and I'm gonna tell you a little bit about each one. First one, Watercress. This has been my favorite picture book, my favorite book, not just picture book, not graphic. This is my favorite book of the year. It just is. I just can't stop thinking about it. I love it. I think it's timeless. I think it's classic. I think the story is beautifully written. I think the art is magnificent. I think this book screams Newbery, screams Caldecott. I think it is one of the best written and illustrated books that I have ever read, and I love it so stinking much. The story is based on Andrea's life growing up and picking watercress with her family, kind of on the side of the road as kind of like not the normal thing that other people do. But that besides the point. It's just such a beautiful book. The words, the pictures, the art. If you haven't read this book, add it to your to-read list and read it to kids, and just enjoy the beauty that you will find within the pages of Watercress. It is Watercress. It is this book I'll be reading forever, the rest of my career. Probably all of these books I'll be reading the rest of my career. And if thinking about it, if I do 5 books every year for 30 years, that's 150 books. I still have 30 other books that I can read. All right, Watercress, so good. Book number 2, The Rock from the Sky. So John Clausen is one of my favorite creators. I love everything that he does. I don't always know what's going on, but I just know that I can't get enough. And I know instantly when I read one of his books that I want to read it with kids and I want to talk about it with kids. And this book is just wild and weird and amazing. And there's just what is going on in this man's head to make these books, and the characters that he makes are just these works of art. And I don't know, I just want all the John Clausen books. So John, get off the computer if you're watching this. I know you're not, and make more books, please. I beg of you. I can't get enough. I just can't get enough. This book, if you haven't read it, you must read it. I don't even know what to say about it because I'm not even sure I know what's going on in it. But it's just awesome. And kids get it. I feel like kids get John more than grown-ups get John. And that's what it's all about. The Rock from the Sky. So good. So fun. All right, next up, Outside, Inside, Lay-Win Fam. I love this book. Really is kind of the story of that early pandemic, what it's like at the beginning of a pandemic. And I read it and loved it, obviously. But then I read it with kids who were 3rd graders during the time that this book takes place, and they're 5th graders now, and they've been in this pandemic for a decent portion of their life. Definitely many of their memories come during this time. And to just feel the weight of the pandemic on their shoulders and on their hearts as we read this book was something that I'll never forget. There is a difference with reading a picture book to yourself as a 40-year-old dude or whatever you are, and reading it with kids. And this book was heavy with kids and beautiful. They loved it, and I loved it. Picture books are just special. All right, next up, A Walk in the Words. This is a book that so many of my online Nerdy Book Club friends have been talking about. And then so I read it, and it's a story of it's really the story of the author, illustrator, and his life growing up and his relationship with words. Loved art, but words were very tricky. Grew up in a time before we would identify a person like him or diagnose them with dyslexia. And just the way through his art that he is able to show what words were like for him and trying to read was like for him. I just feel like this should be a book that's read and discussed in children's literature classes, in maybe even not even just children's literature classes, but all education classes, especially those early education classes where we're really just trying to help people fall in love with the job and help them to see what it takes and what some of these kids are going through. Walk in the Words, just unforgettable. A marvelous book. And this is the book that really shook me. I think Refugee Wishes, refugee stories, and the talking about refugees, I think that's a tricky topic for kids, especially kids who've grown up pretty safe and sound most of their life, or all of their life in many cases. Just to think about what it would be like to have to flee and to go somewhere else is pretty pretty intense. So this book is beautiful. It's powerful. It's masterfully crafted. Wishes, highly recommend. 5 stars, all the stars. So these are 5 books. Wishes, I Walk in the Words, Outside, Inside, The Rock from the Sky, and Watercress. So let me know down in the comments, what are your favorite picture books? If you were nominating books for the Nerdy Book Club Awards, what would you nominate? These are my 5. I love them all with all my heart. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Colby Sharp. I hope you have an awesome, fantastic day.